most important thing, which is cost sheet. So I have given the format also. Just go through it once. And in next class, we will see the problems. Okay, problems and how to do the solution of it. We will discuss that. I'll just go through once with the format. The first thing, you have to think of materials. Materials consumed. You want material consumed. So if direct material is given, just write down the material, right? So if opening stock of raw material, closing stock of raw material, if in that sense it's anything is given, then the format is, or the formula is, opening stock of raw materials, add purchases of raw materials during the year, and less closing stock of raw materials. When you do this, you will get the material consumed. And if any carriage inward, I believe everyone know carriage inward. If any carriage inward expenses is given, then those kind of expenses you have to add to the material purchased. With there only you have to add it and take the total with the outer column. So once you either you have to mention the direct materials if it is given, like material consumed. If not given, then opening stock of raw material, add purchases during the year, less closing stock, and put the answer at the outer column. This is first one. Second one is direct labor. Any direct wages, you have to mention here. Any direct expenses. Chargeable expenses are also you have to consider as direct expenses. So all these three things, material, labor, and direct expenses, this will comes the, first part. Once you add these three, you will get the prime cost. Okay, prime cost here. This is your prime cost. Once prime cost, you have calculated the prime cost. Next is your factory overhead. In factory overhead, all the indirect materials, indirect labors, factory rent and rates, fuel, factory lighting. In a small sense, any expenses related to your factory, you have to mention in the factory overhead. Once you add all the expenses related to your factory, then any scrap, like any machinery, material scrap, that scrap you have to deduct because, we are preparing the cost sheet. So it is kind of revenue. Once you sell it, you will get the money. So it's kind of revenue. So what you have to do, if any scrap, you have to deduct it from the factory, total factory overhead. Okay. If work in progress is given, then opening stock you have to add and closing stock you have to deduct and put the outer column your answer, total answer. And we call it as factory cost or work cost. Next is office and administration overhead. Factory and administration overhead. So in factory and office and administration overhead, all the expenses related to your office salary, office stationery, office lighting, management expenses, legal expenses, bank charges, anything, audit fees, insurance will comes under here in the office and administration. Once you add, you will get the cost of production. Okay. Next, if any finished goods stock is available, add the finished goods of opening stock and deduct the finished goods of your closing stock. Okay. once you add the opening stock finished goods and deduct the finished goods closing stock, you will get the cost of production, cost of production of goods sold, or cost of goods sold, you can say. And the last head is selling and distribution overhead. Here, anything related to your selling and distribution, like salesman salary, salesman commission, showroom expenses, advertisement, everything. And remember, if any carriage outward, you have to mention here. Okay. Carriage inward at the first and carriage outward at the last. Okay. Once you add everything, all this total cost, you will get the total cost of goods. Total cost. Okay. You will get that. Once you get the total cost, you have to add the profit. It may be like percentage is given or any amount is given. Okay, you have to add it. And the last one, once you add the total cost plus profit, you will get the sales price or selling price. Okay, I believe everyone understood, and I have discussed only the important topics. Thank you, everyone. Please share, subscribe, and like the video. Thank you very much.